Welcome, folks. Welcome to this episode of Liss and Kristi. We've got one of the finest and the fanciest that we might know here
in
with
person.
us. In person.
JP Davis.
I'm so excited. I'm a groupie.
You are groupie. You. She said to me this morning, she goes, honey, he can't leave.
No. We have loved. You just won everybody over that you come in touch with.
I love it here. And well, obviously I've known Alyssa and I love Alyssa and I loved you when I first met you, but I didn't really know you are Texas. You were like Miss Texas.
Miss Texas.
Right?
Yeah.
Kristi Schiller for president.
Class act. I mean, seriously. I mean, the fact that this morning that you're immense concern over what's happening in Russia, it just tells the type of person you are.
Oh, absolutely. If you don't know what's going on around you, how do you know how to conduct your day?
I started my morning with a text from Kristi, basically,
Get home and
alerts.
hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down, go get your water.
Yeah. I was explaining about all the food groups, the survival groups here in Texas.
What are they again?
It's
We didn't give you the indoctrination to half of them, but
it's Dr. Pepper, Bluebell ice cream, HEB, Buc-ee's,
and Whataburger.
Whataburger.
Yeah. It's a true story. We only took you to Buc-ee's.
And like people know their power outages here, like to see what Whataburgers are glowing in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
Really?
they go on the map, the Whataburger map, and if they can go and see like which Whataburgers are closed right now because they're open 24 hours, it means they have no power.
Oh, we need to introduce him to my friend Adam.
Well, who's your friend
They
Adam?
need Ditto.
What's Ditto?
It's a technology that helps Whataburgers not lose
Oh,
power.
this is the technology you were saying that if you lose power, it still allows your devices to talk to each other.
Right. You don't need Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or the tablets to talk to each other. So if there's blackouts or power outages or
All right, so Beaver, Buc-ee's, we need a call from you.
Ditto.
We need Whataburger. You all need Ditto. You need to talk to JP.
Yes. And if there's a contract or anything like that, I get a commission. So don't go around me.
And if he gets a commission, he might help out K9s4COPs
That's
on that.
right.
So
And that's a good idea. Yeah, we need to figure out. We need a formal partnership. I'm going to call Adam and find out if we can do something.
yeah, if you thought you were coming here to visit us in Texas to have a nice leisurely 5 days,
I had no
we've
idea.
prostituted you around the state.
Yeah, I did not. I told a friend yesterday, I said, I didn't realize how robust this itinerary was going to be. But I had so much fun and we went to Austin and
Well, we
Houston.
kind of winged it.
Hmm?
We kind of winged
He's
it.
like,
Oh, is
this
that
was
right?
winging it?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
winging it.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
you winged
she-
it really well.
Yeah, she literally put those plans in place 24
I mean, we
hours
met-
each day.
We met some movers and shakers and
We were in the Woodlands twice, Houston twice, Austin once. Look,
brainstormed.
Yeah.
We got a good list going. We're
You
taking
were
this
this
thing.
close to kicking off for the Aggies.
Okay. So I was texting them prior to coming here, and I love college football. I don't really like pro sports, but I love college sports. And
But you realize now with the name and likeness, the college stuff may as well be pro because they're all
that's a
being
good
paid.
idea. God, don't depress me, because it's like
But I'm with you. I only
you're right. It's like
appreciate college.
that's a good point, because it is turning into that, which I actually support. I think some of these players are so talented and I guess deserve to be paid like everybody else, I guess. But I'm a Louisville Cardinal, so just FYI. But I wanted to go to a Texas A&M game because when I'm in Texas, I think football. And anyway, they were out of town. But Kristi texted me back and said, "Well, we could have gotten you to kick the ball. What'd you
Kick
call
off.
it? Kickoff." And I said, "Excuse me, there is no way in hell my gay ass is going to be in front of how many people in that stadium
Like 112,000.
kicking a football? That's comedy. Hell no. That would be so embarrassing. But I'd watch you all do it. Y'all go kick
Do
the ball.
you know who Dude Perfect is?
Do perfect?
Uh-huh.
Mm-mm.
They started here at Texas A&M, and they do these extreme things with basketballs. So, like at the
Oh.
top of Texas A&M, they'll throw it as hard as they can, and then they'll make a dunk from 100 stories in the air. I mean,
like all those crazy trick shots.
Like
just
Harlem Globetrotters.
right, but
kind of. They're more of a modern.
but like they
frat
took
boy.
it to social media. They inserted a little bit of Mr. Beast energy into it, and it's like,
Do you know about Mr. Beast?
Yes, I do actually. I do
Mr.
know about Dr.
Beast.
Beast is the highest paid online what do they call it?
We need
Influencer?
to get Mr. Beast involved with our
Mr.
endeavors.
Beast.
Mr. Beast.
You're missing out. Yeah. What, can we tag him on this when we post it?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Beast, if you're watching, come to Texas.
K9s in schools.
You probably need a K9, don't you?
Right, exactly.
Famous-
So it's call to action. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be. Can we talk about?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, let's tell everybody why we brought you down and what you're going to be helping us do.
Yeah, so I'm a fundraising consultant, fundraising guru, and timing of this is brilliant because a year ago I wouldn't have been able to consider even coming down here and working with you all. But
And you consult foundations too.
yeah, foundations, corporate philanthropy, non-for-profits. I also advise like some startups, that sort of thing. People who don't know what fundraising is, people think it's asking for money, and fundraising is not asking for money. It's branding, it's messaging, it's the narrative, it's your image and your exposure and strategy, and your logo, and your board and your leadership and your volunteers and how you manage them, and your stewardship plan. And there's so much that goes into fundraising. And what really excites me about what you all have built, 14 years you started it,
Mhm.
and it's pretty amazing what you've been able to accomplish as a very small but mighty non-for-profit, which has mainly been led mostly with your generosity. And we had a call yesterday with a dear friend of mine who started a foundation called Whitney Strong. For those of you who don't know, Whitney Austin was shot 12 times in Cincinnati.
Her story was amazing.
And she's a wonderful person. She and her husband, family, Waller.
Shot 12 times and survived.
Right, survived. And it was, when we talked to her yesterday, it was actually kind
At point blank.
of point blank, right. And it gave me chill bumps to hear her say that she was laying there and felt like she deserved because she had not done anything about mass shootings. And that like kind of broke my heart because I had not heard her say that before. And that just tells you the type of person she is. But that kind of motivated me even more to help with this project because she is out doing the work. There's a lot of people out doing the work. You've been doing the work for 14 years. But to Whitney's point yesterday, she goes, it's just mind-boggling to me that this isn't a thing. And that's true, simply put, but it's true. I mean, I use the example of Pulse nightclub shooting, how the shooter went in and on video shows the shooter talking to the police officer. But how would that police officer know that that guy had weapons?
Right.
A dog could have sniffed it and then
Right.
alerted that police officer, and it could have prevented a tragedy. I know that's an extreme. We don't know what could have. I know that's hypothetical, but I just think about so many scenarios that if there was a dog in that location,
It would make a bad guy think twice.
And one more layer of protection.
Right.
yeah, it's crazy. And I also think politics gets in the way. This idea of people not liking cops, I think is stupid and naive and
Right.
ignorant and wrong. And I think people
Who you
lose.
gonna call when you're in a jam?
Right. And that kind of narrative and rhetoric
Mhm.
is not productive. It's not
Right.
constructive, and it's dangerous because it means no progress. It means we're not moving forward at all.
Right.
And projects like this give me hope. Going back to Kentucky, I just think about how many applications does Kentucky have?
Almost 10.
I think we have actually 7 or 8, but a couple of those applications are for multiple K9s.
Yes. They
I
want
mean-
multiple dogs and
$25,000
yes.
for a highly trained,
Let's say there's
sophisticated
10.
dog. That's doable.
Right.
And people feel safer.
Well, and like to your point of all the counties in Kentucky, full and well there's at least one person within each Kentucky or county that could say, okay, yeah, I could write that check. But it's just reaching, utilizing more people like you to spread that message. And one of the things I said to Kristi, because I'm so profoundly, like, I'll never be able to tell you how grateful I am that you came. And, we often look at our lives when things don't go according to plan. And for me, my life in Louisville, I loved the community of Louisville, and I loved my time there. And it was always a place that I thought I could go back to, or I might even want to go back to. But the time that I spent there didn't culminate the way that I had thought it would. And so you often wonder, like, wow, did I waste that time? And to look at Kristi and to be able to say, no, this is why I was integrated into that community and met people and, stayed friends with you. And to think that if it all comes together now and that we hit the streets and we're out doing this work together and, again, to your point, what you said about the gay and lesbian community.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to talk about that.
In Louisville?
Well, no,
Or-
just what your dream or your bucket list item is to do for that.
Yeah. God, I have so many. I'm exhausted thinking about it. So yes, a project that I really want to do. So first of all, I love the Jewish community for so many reasons, but from a philanthropic standpoint and from a values standpoint, I feel like the Jewish community have done a great job organizing in communities, let's say like Louisville, where there's a Jewish community center, there's a Jewish foundation, but it's not just about funding Jewish organizations, it's also spreading what Jewish values are about. And so, and when I think about it from a philanthropic standpoint, I think about the LGBTQIAAP2 plus community. Thank you.
R.
You're welcome. We could do another podcast about that. Rusty.
Rusty in practice, not Rusty Surratt.
Not that I'm saying any of us are rusty. I'm just saying that is a letter. Well, let's get back to the letters. I want to talk about that. So I will say that our community, many of us will leave our wealth, if I have wealth when I die, to a community, whether it's a foundation or a nonprofit or whatever, because I don't have kids and many of my friends don't have kids. But when I think about looking at history and looking at today and moving forward, this narrative, I'd love to know how to quantify how many millions of dollars are going to be going to community organizations for real impact by those of us who will die without children and leave money. And I think that's an interesting narrative as we fight as a community for respect and equity and equality and, seat at the table. I think it's important because at the end of the day, we are a society where money talks. It's economics, we're capitalists, and when you start talking about it that way, I think maybe people can shift their narrative a little bit about what we do and our impact that we have and what our legacies we leave.
What a refreshing way to look at it.
Mm-hmm. So it's just an idea that I've had that I would love to tackle.
Well, it's inspiring. And I think as we cultivate this group together around the K9s, K9s for kids, K9s for care, K9s for cops, K9s for, and you had the great point, it could be K9s for anything. Like, because they're such an effective tool and one of the only tools that is able to be utilized for what they do, the sky's kind of the limit with that. And as we travel around and get involved with other groups, I feel like most of the meetings that we've had, there's been somebody of the LGBT community that's been there saying, oh yeah, I'm right. I don't have kids, but I'm interested. I want to help do more to prevent all of this because I care. I have empathy.
Yeah.
And I think many of us who don't have kids, you made a comment in your last podcast about your friend that passed away. And because he had so much empathy for the community around him, it impacted him on an emotional level that it was just kind of too much. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of us that feel that way. And so to take action and say, no, I'm going to get involved so I can say I did all I could to prevent anything that would have been a tragedy.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly how I feel about it. And, we had dinner last night with a council member and we had the conversation about, and I truly feel this way because I do value politicians. I do. I think it's a thankless job. And we've talked several times. There are bad apples everywhere.
Right. In every profession, every entity.
So, again, we allow these narratives on the left and right to just, I hate politicians. No, don't say that. Like, we are in a society, like, go back and learn civics and go back and learn government and politics and our history and our constitution. And the way our government was designed was to do this. Like, it doesn't mean we have to kill each other. And so, like I told him last night, if I were a politician today, I'd be terrified. We talked about Congresswoman
Gabby Gifford.
Yes. And, I would be in our world right now with shootings and crazy. I don't know why there's not a dog in every city hall.
Right.
If I were a politician today, I would not want to go to city hall or to work unless I knew for sure it is safe.
Now in Houston, at Commissioner's Court for the county, I supply dogs down there.
And just think if every community had one. But I think sometimes politicians are shy or what's the better word? I guess nervous about asking for that because it comes across like probably. And
then there's some that never bring their hand back.
Right. We'll have 24 bodyguards.
Right.
But I do think I support it because I really want good people in office that are not afraid to say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done. And when you do that, you put a target on your back.
Right.
And I want I hate to say it this way, but I want politicians to have targets on their back. I want them standing for something.
Right. Without
And
the fear of retaliation.
Without the fear of retaliation. And I think you've got to protect these people. And so that's I just think all the different, the shooting that happened at the bank in Louisville last year, what if there was a dog? You just start to think about these things, and all the victims, all the people who have lost their lives or survived, like Whitney, we owe it to them to
Right.
do more, to
Right.
do something.
Right.
And so that's why I really admire what you've done and stuck with it, because you don't have to do any of this. Like,
Well, when you realized that K9s4COPs was going to work, and I kept hearing in the beginning, if it's not out there, you can't find a foundation, that means it's probably not a good idea. So don't do it. And our governor at the time said, it just costs too much money, for each dog, and people aren't going to give that much. And I said, but they can give $5
right.
towards.
It's something.
And what a community relations tool to unite everybody to know that they're working, for the car washes or the bake sales or
Right.
things like that.
If people can give $5 to support a presidential campaign
Right.
Right.
in the millions, they can give $5 to help put dogs so that people are safer.
Right.
And what's so great is like some of our schools, if they have a class that excels at something or goes to state or, challenges somebody else in the grade for something, that dog can come in and they bathe it. They get to hang out with it.
Like
gets
it
its
becomes a
own
reward
page in the
incentive.
yearbook. Her name's Lucy.
Well, and the other thing that we talked about the other day, because, some people might say, well, I just don't think that my community is at risk for this, or we don't have a drug issue, or we don't have a gun problem. But here's one problem that is
I
across
promise
the
you,
board.
you have a drug problem.
No matter what. Yes, likely you do have a drug problem. Yes, you probably do have a kid that's maybe thought about this. But one problem that is for certain that you have is you all have children now that are going to school with this thought in the back of their mind. What if somebody comes to school today with a gun? So for me, school was my safe place. School was my sanctuary. I was there before class started. I stayed as late as until the janitor shut off the lights because it was my safety.
Same.
And for many, many, many kids today, public schools, private schools, it doesn't matter. It still becomes like a retreat if you have a really bad home life or, something that you just want to escape from. I don't think that I could mentally escape in school anymore if I was going through what my, nieces and nephews are going through.
Right.
So the emotional capacity that becomes more nurtured when you have a dog and those kids think, okay, I know there's an officer, there's an SRO officer, there's K9 Lucy, there's K9 Jess. They're here to keep an extra close, they're protecting me. And my parents or my community thought we were important enough to make sure that this happened.
Right.
Mhm.
You can't, you can't give me a rebuttal to that.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's just unacceptable.
And I said, it's not reading, writing, and Remington.
Yeah. Right. Because that's what it feels like. I mean, if I had kids, I feel sorry for my friends with kids, and I'm very uneasy about it. I'm gay with a dog, so.
And to your point, we're all, I don't want to make it seem, we're all tired of the prayers and the candlelight vigils in a way that it doesn't,
It's not effective.
it's not
prayer-
preventing
thoughts and
further.
prayers are great. Like, that's a good person. Thank you.
Awareness.
Think good vibes and good energy. That's not action.
Right.
It's not either or, it's both. Yes, thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Be a good person. Care.
Right.
But what are you doing?
Right.
That's what drives me nuts. And we can't look, and this is not a knock on, I just said I love politicians. It's not a knock on politicians, but the system is too complicated to rely on the government to fix this,
Exactly.
Right.
which is why organizations like yours matter. And awareness, to your point, like getting more people out excited. 25,000 from a philanthropic standpoint is not a lot of money. I know how much money is thrown around. Like you
Right.
joke, yeah, rubber chicken dinners. I mean, money is thrown around. This is something real and tangible that can have real impact. How much money have you all? What's the impact of the organization so far?
I can tell you one statistic that's, she can come up with better numbers than this, but last year I did a statistic because I just wanted to know what's the return on investment, right? Like there's people who are very tangible with numbers. For every dollar, this was last year, for every dollar K9s4COPs had gifted in canines to departments around the country, schools, law enforcement, every dollar in gift had a return of about $1,750 of drug narcotic value. So again, if you're an investment person, that's an insane return on your investment. And not to mention that was like 20 firearms.
And while we were here, you got a text that a dog somewhere.
Yes, a dog got $860,000 worth of, was it?
That was just cash, $875 in cash, and then got another like 60 kilos.
And a big misconception is while these departments are getting cash with some of these busts, that money does not come back to K9s. We never see a dime from the money that is taken in a bust ever. So,
That's
sometimes
crazy.
people see that dollar figure and they're like, oh, wow, well, they get a kickback. There's no kickbacks in what we do at all.
Well, we certainly created some buzz around these parts
Yes.
the last few days. I will tell you, as a gay man, I like getting attention from other men in public, which doesn't happen that often as much as I want it to. But walking around with these two throughout Texas has been really fun because we've been turning
Power
heads.
lunches and power dinners.
Yeah.
and-
I mean, I felt so cool because obviously you all are so beautiful, and everywhere we went, people tell you how beautiful you are,
I love
and so
you.
I felt like Brad Pitt the whole the whole time I've been here. I've been like,
Yes, girl.
I'm with them.
I love it.
It was
You want to
fun.
go back to those letters and tell everybody what they mean?
Yeah. Okay. So for those of you who need to know what these letters are, because look, I actually would love to have like a T-shirt company where you can order your letter, or like the eye chart that has all the letters. But okay, it's LGBTQQIAAP2+. And if someone's watching this and there's more letters that I'm missing, don't cancel me. Educate me. Tell me what it is. So it's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersexual, asexual, ally, pansexual, two-spirit, plus. But then we added R for rusty, and then S for swinging, and then what would Kelly be? She's a straight white woman who likes gay men. What is that letter?
Kelly is just funny as hell. That's what Kelly is.
So
She is the funniest woman without her own TV show.
she's like obsessed with me. She wants to like hook up, and
Yes,
she knows I'm gay.
she-
She's just
She's fabulous, isn't
yeah.
she?
Oh, funny. I love her so much, and so that's a letter. We need to add a letter to that.
I feel like eventually it's just going to be the alphabet in all kinds of
Yeah,
different.
because you know what I tell people? I love it and celebrate it because I don't care. Like, I want people to be themselves. If somebody wants to be a B today and a G tomorrow and a T tomorrow and next week a P and who cares? I want people to not feel judged or let people. You don't have to be. It's like it's important to talk about this, I think, but it's also like I always compare it to like if the jock football quarterback, that may want to hook up with his guy friend because that's what he's feeling in the moment. Okay, do it. No, but he shouldn't have to fear to be like gay.
Right.
Well, who cares? You're gay in that moment,
Right.
but tomorrow you could do whatever the hell you want to do.
So with that being said, say goodnight, Lucy.
Good night, Lucy.
Good night, Lucy.